Hey, Gil here with the Sailing Vessel Dream Chaser, and in today's episode we are going to start redoing our deck. We're going to start by pulling up the deck on the boat. This is likely going to be a multi-part series. I don't know exactly how long it is, but we're going to be pulling up the deck today. We have our little helper on deck over here just off camera. We fill up a big Tupperware bin full of water, put a sunshade up, and she's playing with her duckies. You diving? Diving ponies? Where's your ducky?
Right there.
Okay. We actually started pulling up this teak a little while ago. We started up in the little anchor well, and I removed it there just to see what it was like, and then a small piece of the deck. The rough plan is this. We are going to start on the port side of the boat from the coach house forward, and we're going to remove up the teak. The idea here is to use a chisel and try and break some of it up, or a crowbar I should say, and see what we can lift up off the deck. This time we're going to do something a little bit different. We don't really know if we have any core rot below the teak. Obviously the seams have been leaking for quite some time. There was not a lot of caulk in it when we bought the boat. We do know that water gets down below the teak. We've certainly had some drips below. What I don't know is if it's intruded between the two layers of fiberglass and the wood core. So the thing we're going to do a little bit different today is we're actually going to, once we pull this teak up, I'm going to drill a few holes in the deck just to inspect what that core is. Don't know if it's balsa wood or plywood or what happens to be, but I want to see if it's wet. So that's our goal here today. Once we drill these exploratory holes, we're going to look in there and kind of see whether or not this core is wet, and if it is, there's going to be sections of the top skin we'll have to pull off and replace the core. We just don't know yet what we're going to find in there. But the rough plan is this. We'll patch those holes up because we're not going to get all this done in a single weekend. We'll patch those holes up, and the rough plan here is we're going to remove all the teak, smooth it out, put another layer of fiberglass down on it. We're going to put we're going to paint it, and we're going to do some kind of kiwi grip or non-skid material on top of it. That's the plan. So here we went ahead and prepared the deck. We'd had plastic over the deck. We kind of pulled the plastic back on one side of it. You can kind of see we have the babies playing on top of that side of it. On the other side, we've exposed the teak, and here's where we're actually going to start to do our work. But we needed to prep the deck first to do that. So here I'm going ahead and I'm removing this deck box. This deck box was actually through bolted all the way down through the deck. You can kind of hear as I'm pulling this, it's just so rotted, it's kind of pulling right through the bottom of that. And we know we had some water intrusion down below. So the goal here is to get this lifted up out of the way so we can expose the teak down below and start removing all of this. So just getting this out of the way.
You can grab it now?
I can grab it. I got it.
How much to do it by hand? You got it, help?
Yep.
Shoveling shit.
Supervising. Go get the pony. Do not throw it back out.
Weird.
Well, it would be a blast to have these two together down there.
I agree. No. Well, then there's some on the other boat. In probably the freezer and the fridge. Alright, see how well you can see this. We got one strip kind of pulled up along there, and then that part we took out earlier. Debbie's ready to do some work sitting, so I'm gonna get a screwdriver. Wait a second, I'm lifting this up. We tried a lot of different ways of pulling up the deck. You saw the shovel method before. It didn't end up working great because the shovel would hit the screws, and it was kind of tough to get it levered in there. The way we found worked the best is exactly what you're seeing here. We would take a flat crowbar, we would push it underneath the deck with a rubber mallet. We would pound that in. If we hit it in all the way, it got us about 5 slats up. Once we hammered it in all the way, it was good and tight. It was hard to pull out. So we would take a second, more meaty crowbar, and we would hammer that in the gap right between the crowbar and the side that was still fastened well to the deck. Once we hammered that in there, we'd give a slight tug up on it, and it would loosen up the flat bar, and then we would pull the flat bar forward like you see right here. Obviously pound it back in and sort of repeat this process all the way through, all the way through the slats. I tried to go the full run wherever I could. You could get a good 4 to 6 slats wide across as you did this, so it worked pretty darn good, I must say. So I know this looks a little bit funny here, but we actually ended up doing this for a good, it was probably a good hour and a half or 2 hours, maybe just to pull this up. So I went ahead and sped this up. This is 20 or 25 times speed or 20 times speed here or so. But it was a good way to go ahead and kind of show the progress we were making, and you can kind of see what it looked like as we pulled this in. And here's a good view of how that wood was starting to pull up. Now I know I'm pulling the screws right through the teak. I'm really not too worried about that. It doesn't really seem to matter too much. And then later I'll show a blooper where I actually pounded this thing right into my foot here, which didn't feel too good. It was now time to haul off the teak, so I made multiple trips and tossed it all up into the back of my car. I went ahead and put it in a storage shed for a little bit. I think I'm going to use some of these as accent pieces as I redo some of the deck boxes and potentially even hatches. So I'm going to save it. Look.
Oh. No, I'm just not wearing a bra. Sorry. And there goes my shade.
Let's go this way.
That will.
I'm ready. It's hanging.
We're almost. The core's okay. We'll grind out a little angled piece. There goes the shade again. Oh.
Are you kidding?
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for weekly updates and like this video.